What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. We are here again for another Filmstruck Film Club Pick of the Week. I'm your host, Carson Higgins, and this is my dear friend Groot. You can't see him right now, but my cat Jeff is over here sleeping on, and I'll show him to you. Here, look at him. Yeah, he's a cutie. Anyway, how is everybody? Did you watch the week's pick? Did you watch this week's movie? I hope you did. It's pretty good one. It's Cleo from 5 to 7, Agnes Varda's classic. If you are unfamiliar with Agnes Varda as I was, then you're in for a treat because this is one of those films that when I first got the Criterion collection, Criterion Channel, this was like the first movie I put in my watch list a year ago, and I never got around to it, and I was so bummed because I also remember that Agnes Varda passed away in 2019, and it was either Filmstruck or the Criterion Channel, and I was like, fuck, I should watch her movies, and I didn't get around to it. And so now, thankfully, we're here celebrating our month of women directors for our month of March picks. And so I'm just so glad that finally put this one on the queue, finally put it in front of us, and man, was it great. I just fucking totally fell in love with Agnes Varda and this film all at the same time. Just a couple little things for you. It is from 1962. It is a French film. It is one of the, pinnacles of the French New Wave. And unbeknownst to me, Agnes Varda is like totally one of the major Mount Rushmore figures of the French New Wave. I had always kind of been like, yes, Truffaut and Godard, and then like the list just kind of keeps going. But those two, right? Agnes was right there, man. She is right. First of all, Jean-Luc Godard is in this movie in Cleo from 5 to 7. Him and Anna Karina both are really cute in the little silent film, short film that is in the middle of this. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Michel Legrand did the score for this. And if you recall, he did the score for the Jacques Demy films, Umbrellas of Cherbourg and Young Girls of Rochefort. Also, maybe you didn't know this, but Agnes Varda and Jacques Demy were married, had children, are the cutest couple ever. Here's a picture of them. They're just amazing. And so it's fun to know that Agnes worked on Jacques' movies. And I don't know if he worked on hers or not, but there was all kinds of cross-pollinating happening. I believe the first AD for Lola, which is a Jacques Demy film, was the first AD for this film. And it was just like all the homies in Paris were all working together, right? And Agnes was kind of like just right in the middle of all of it as one of the coolest, most visionary members of that very cool club. But yeah, it sits with a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it was nominated for the Palme d'Or when it was at the Cannes Film Festival. And Agnes Varda went on to just have the coolest, dopest career in life. She got an honorary Oscar. She's the only female, she's the only woman director the first woman director to receive an honorary Oscar. She received an honorary Palme d'Or from the Cannes Film Festival. She was like the head of the jury over there for a while. She's one of the unforgettables, as she was deemed. But yeah, she made one hell of a movie with Cleo from 5 to 7. It does center around our lead female, Cleo, who is a singer, and she is waiting for 2 hours from 5 to 7 to hear the results from a biopsy that she got. She's nervous that she might have cancer. There's a really cool, right at the beginning, the very first scene is in color, and you're looking at a table where a tarot reading is taking place. We hear these two voices, the person reading the tarot cards and who we find out is our lead, Cleo. But immediately I was struck by, I was like, I thought this movie was in black and white. And so I was like, maybe I was wrong. I'm watching this little tarot card thing play out. And mind you, I didn't know what I was watching as far as the little sleight of hand where she literally tells us everything that's going to happen in the movie. So like when I went to watch it again, I was like, everything that happens in this movie happens in the tarot card reading. But it reminded me very much, and I don't know if it reminded you, but of Wes Anderson. I was like, this is the beginning of any Wes Anderson movie, and it just was a nice reminder of how influenced he is, and others, It reminded me of Hal Ashby a little bit too, a little Harold and Maude maybe. But just how influential the French New Wave was on everybody, and specifically, when things from the French New Wave kind of fold themselves into modern day cinema, it just feels so familiar and so nice. And then going back and watching all these movies then just makes the whole process that much more fun. Everything about it is more fun. But yeah, it just, bam, out of color into black and white as we arrive on the faces of the two women participating in the tarot card reading, the reader and Cleo. Fun fact, there's a clock behind Cleo's shoulder that says it's like 5:05. And if you check out the clock, I didn't really do this the first time I was watching the film. I actually discovered this from Agnes telling me all about it in a bonus feature on the Criterion channel. But the clocks in the film are all correct, meaning that the film really does take place between 5 and 6:30. But whenever you see a clock in that film, it's like it's the correct timeline. They shot the film chronologically, which is unique. It does happen, but it is a rare experience where you get to shoot from page 1 to the end. And just the use of time in this movie is very, very cool. Sometimes we're, meandering through a park or taking a drive, and the entirety of that drive is you getting to see Paris kind of in this cool time capsule of black and white Paris at that time. And from what I understand, everything was like pretty accurate. There's a poster for a film at a movie theater where it's Elmer Gantry, the Burt Lancaster film, and that movie like came out. Oh no, Groot! Oh my God, Groot made a fall, but he's back and his hair is in his head. Yeah, Elmer Gantry being that doesn't matter. This movie's just really cool with how it deals with time. Are you okay, buddy? Jeez, don't scare us like that. You're good. Yeah, there's also there's all kinds of cool shit happening in this film. I love Michel Legrand's cameo as the songwriter with his songwriter buddy, and they're bringing a song for Cleo as she's at home with all of her cute little kittens. Love that scene. Love any time that like we get to meet her friends. There's a really great scene where we go meet up with a friend of hers. Turns out she's a nude model for an art class, and I was just really struck by the scene because the camera kind of comes in with Cleo, and we are her, she is whatever. But we're seeing all these artists just look at the model, and then all of a sudden the camera comes and looks at the model in a way that is different from the other artists, and all of a sudden the model is now like the subject of what we're here to deal with, and what she is up to and into and going through becomes what's interesting. And usually a model for art is like, sadly, the least interesting thing happening in the room. But it was so cool. And of course, it takes a woman storyteller to show us that no, we're going to spend time with the nude model, and she's not just a naked body. There's a whole person in there with shit to do today. So it's just Cleo running into all these different friends and new acquaintances. Great whole like last half hour with Antoine, the soldier who's about to go back to the Algerian war. Their whole exchange for that last half hour of the film is just so cool. Because honestly, from a 2021 standpoint, and watching this movie, Antoine rolls up on Cleo as she's walking through the park. Clearly, she's got a lot on her mind. She's trying to find out what the hell, if she's got cancer or not. Antoine comes up, smooth talking and everything. And so at first I was kind of like, man, get the fuck out of here. Like, leave her alone. Don't talk to her. Until I realized that, he's very charming, a total gentleman. He's not being off-putting. He's also not, like, imposing too much. And then he is kind of invited into her world. And it winds up being just this beautiful exchange. I mean, they wind up on the bus and he's telling her all about the trees and stuff. And it's just like, what the hell? This is great. I'm so glad this is what this wound up being. And a really nice kind of way to break it up, because every time we meet somebody or anytime Cleo does something, you could just see it on her face when she is reminded, like, oh shit, like, am I dying? She's so wrapped up, and as you would be, I actually saw a great review on Letterboxd that said this is the perfect movie to watch while you're waiting for your COVID test results to come in. You can relate to the main character. Yeah, man. I just thought that, like, I think I said it already, but this film is just such a beautiful little time capsule. It's like you really get to take a 2-hour stroll through Paris. There's and I'm not that familiar with the geography of Paris, but there were certain parts where they're walking around, and I was reminded of like the scene in Breathless where they're walking down the street, or there's anything. It was just such a nice time. I was so glad to spend this. It's only like an hour and a half long movie, maybe a little shorter, but I just was so pleased. Like, I was so glad that Agnes took us on this journey, and that even 50 plus years later, this movie is fucking great. And I'm not the only asshole to say that. Like, it's a famously good movie. It's on the essential art house playlist. I don't know what to call it. The curated segment on Criterion Channel. So, it's about time I saw this movie. And if you still haven't seen it, it's about time you watch it too. That silent film that I mentioned earlier that's just like in the middle is awesome. It's so cool. Like, we pick up her friend who's the model, right? And we go drop off something at her boyfriend or friend Raoul's place. And it's like, oh, you guys are just in time. You want to watch my short film? And her friend's like, oh, Cleo's sick. And he's like, oh shit, you're sick? I hope it's not serious. Well, watch my movie. Laughter's good for any illness. And so then we just like open the window, and then boom, we're with the characters watching this short film. And it's just a really delightful little kind of romantic comedy with Jean-Luc Godard as like a Buster Keaton kind of Harold Lloyd character, and Anna Karina as his girlfriend in it. And man, it just seemed like buddies got together and made a movie. Like, I think they made this movie in just 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, and like everybody was just homies, small crew. Very inspiring. Makes you want to just grab a camera and 10 friends and be like, we're making a movie, guys. Let's go. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say other than like Agnes Varda. Sorry I came to your work after you're already gone, but she lived to 90 years old and just was the shit all the way up until her very last days. I think, she released a documentary in 2019 or in 2018. Like, she worked all the way up until the end, making cool stuff. So very, very glad to finally meet her work, and look forward to checking out some of her other films. In the meantime, follow us on Filmstruck Film Club if you want to keep up with the picks every week. On Instagram, I'll tend to put like some different posters and maybe some like did you know sort of things. And then, if you're already finding this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe and all those fun things. But we'll have another pick up. We're going to keep up with the women directors this month, so I'll find something fun for us to watch. But yeah, let me know what you thought of Cleo from 5 to 7. And I look forward to doing the next one with you, right, Groot? Again, I'm sorry you fell, buddy. Mwah! Say goodbye. Bye, guys.